Yeah, so this is funny because I saw this like a month ago. Never watched it. Meant to react to it though. I've been putting it off a little bit, but I'm gonna check it out now. So that guy Penguinz, his name is penguinz0, YouTuber. Objective personality was typing him, I guess. And shout out to him. I actually spoke to him some years back. I guess he was reaching out to smaller channels and giving them tips. Real cool dude, man. Um, it was nice talking to him too because I was like a big fan of him. I used to watch him a lot back in the day. So this is interesting though because I was looking at Penguin, right? I didn't really think to consider ISTP, but I'm open now because I forgot to consider it. Now it's like I can't unsee it now after I heard him say. So he thinks he's an ISTP apparently. Um, Interesting because I guess like I know I give y'all crap for mistyping people and mistaking us for INTJs and INFP sometimes. I don't give y'all that much crap, but I understand why y'all mistype us or mistaking us as each other. But sometimes I think it's a little biased. But I mean, in this case, I can see why it will be mistaken. But this is interesting because I never thought to consider him being a ISTP. So without further ado, let's get to this video.
I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Oz, maybe even watched some clips and laughed at him, but you know who's not laughing? Your mom and your grandma, who's buying all the dog shit that he keeps peddling.
Okay. If you're not talking like this guy, you're not Save Your Sleep. So something that's been really fascinating that we've been looking at this week is kind of how and why so many people tend to type themselves as Save Your Sleep or Save Your Introverted Functions, right? We used to have a saying that would say, like, if saviors are king, then introverted functions are queen, right? Because you got savior functions, introverted functions, and masculine functions all carry a lot of weight when it comes to somebody's type, right? Now, I think officially kind of what I'm defining.
Mm. So, real quick, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really know his new terminology he's been using, savior sleep and things like that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just an extension of this was way of kind of simplifying the functions, kind of like how personality hacker does. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I haven't been keeping up with that. Um, but anyways, let's get back to it.
In my mind here is I'm going to switch it. I think really it's all about our introverted functions, and then our savior functions are just kind of bitches for our introverted functions. Now, I've been running this kind of NI the past week, and it's made so much more sense. And everything as I'm looking at people, trying to understand and predict them, it's just made the typing process so much more efficient when I just made that little switch between saviors and introverted functions. Again, what I'm saying is we used to kind of think that saviors are the most important and then introverted functions would be second. I think it's the other way around. I think it really is more about introverted functions are the most important, and then saviors are right underneath that. So let me kind of break that down, explain that, and then take a look at this guy who is actually truly savior sleep, double introverted savior function. So I think what's happening is all of us, it's all about my way, my DI way, OI. Everybody is a selfish ass. So even the play EJs that try and give you the smoke screen of, oh, I care about everybody, channel change. No, they don't. No, they don't. And they'll even tell you when you talk to them, they're like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out my way. Now, I'm only allowed to get to my way once a month, once every 10 years, whatever. But it's eventually down to their way, right? Because they'll finally have enough of your
Makes
bullshit
sense.
and they'll
So you're talking about the last function of my way introvert thing. So they trickle down. Like the way I look at it is, um, let me get my take on that. Hold on. Oops, I did not mean to move that. See, I'm still learning. This is OBS. All right, I've been starting to use OBS now. So bear with me. Well, my take on it, I guess I don't gotta. Anyways, my take on it is, um, I feel like it's my certain things trickle down as far as the function stack goes. Like your last function, you do end up using your last function, but it's like last priority. So like things can trickle down into your last function. Um, but it all starts at the top functions first, but it takes a very long time to trickle all the way down to that bottom function. That's how I look at it. It's kind of like a water droplet, making its way down something. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. But anyways, let's get back to it. I'll make myself smaller.
blow up the town and run away and scream and Karen and all the rest, right? They get all that energy out because they're frustrated they're not getting their way in some way, shape, or form. The saver sleeps on the other side of the spectrum are like, what's the problem? I'll just tell you my way. And so they're kind of known in the tribe as the selfish, controlling, narcissistic asses because they're triggering everybody because everybody's going, well, I want to be the controlling monster bitch and you're just doing it. You can't do that, right? So there's a lot of like flare up of like, how the hell are you just doing this consciously without hiding it underneath the extroverted functions? So this guy here, if you've seen him on YouTube, I'm sure he pops up in the trending page a lot. And a lot of times what he pops up for is when he's standing up for somebody in the community where like some YouTuber will get blocked or banned or kicked off and he'll go and he'll attack YouTube and he very righteously so. What's great about this guy is he says it how it is. He doesn't have a filter. He's got his way, his point of view, his perception, his understanding, and he just says it. He doesn't have to worry so much about the tribe's point of view or different information or whatever. Notice the low SE.
And I see that in myself too. If he is an ISTP, I see the similarities of myself and him. So I was thinking he was an ISTJ. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, I see why you guys sometimes can mix us up, but I didn't really try to type him like that. I never really was try to go. I would just watch the videos from time to time. So yeah, I do still think there's a lot of instances where you guys may type people as INTJ or get us mixed up, and it's a little bit out of bias though. So, oops. In this case, I can see, but I never really looked that deep into the guy. So, but this is very surprising. I never thought to consider. This is how it always is when I meet. But like when I see somebody who has the same type as me, I always forget to consider them being an ISTP. Interesting though.
Thumbnails here. Another thing I noticed too is like when you see something like this on somebody's channel trailer, like Darren Brown will have that. When Darren Brown paints portraits of people, then he'll paint a portrait of himself, and it'll be very sad and stuff. So like you'll see people, especially with demon emotions. It's a little bit of a cry for help. Like you're not going to put that if you're actually happy and everything else is great in the world. It's a little emotional leak outs, and then you ask your friend about it. They say, "No, I'm fine," but it's a lie. So look for stuff like that, right? Now I wasn't able to figure out if he's double feminine or audio, and it's always the hardest thing to figure out through video if someone's double feminine or audio.
And I do see a little myself as far as like type wise. And he kind of likes offending people, like in a way. He kind of likes to be edgy in a way, and I have that in me too. Like you see me poke at. I meant to say poke. When you see me poke at certain things, when I was talking about like the INFJs, it's like that thing in me that just wants to go against the grain. And low FE, that might be what drives his content and why he's like what he is. And this picture right here, he looks like a perceiver. He doesn't look like a judger. Just off the pose and all that, and his sense of humor, I guess that would maybe be an ISTP sense of humor, but a very harsh and blunt. And I'm looking at him, and I'm actually noticing he makes some of the same facial expressions as me. Now that I think about it, he didn't know he's not showing anything yet, but I'm looking at him right now. I'm like, yeah, he might very well be an ISTP. Interesting.
Audio, right? He could be double masculine savior, so that could be what I'm seeing. So let me jump down to my best official guess. And this is after from watching this guy for a couple of years. So I got a pretty good idea who he is, right? So savior sleep, play last. He's going to have double activated TI and NI, and if those are both saviors and those are both...
It looks pretty interesting. I'm going to have to look into this, because I'm not caught up on this aspect of his channel. Oh, shoot. My light turn off. Let me turn this back on. I'm not quite caught up on all this, right? But it's all kind of gonna be. I'm pretty sure it's all lines up. It's kind of all the same at this point. Hold on. Turn my light back on. It's all kind of. It all kind of. I've gotten to a point where I understand the fundamentals pretty well. So, yeah. But it's just people's ways. They come up with ways to make it a little simpler as far as how to type or whatever, and that's pretty good. That chart looks like a pretty good system. It probably simplifies in a way. There's no perfect way to type people. I'm pretty sure you can still get people wrong using this method, but I'm pretty sure it's a good method though. You know what I'm saying? You should never rely too much on one method as far as typing. Now, if some works for you, go for it. but it's really no perfect method. I'll tell you that. But interesting. It's kind of reminds me of C.F. Joseph's method, or whatever. Anyway,
Masculine. That's going to be one hell of a guy. That's going to be exactly what you see here. This is going to be this guy that is just fucking funny as hell because it's going to be Savior Sleep cranked all the
I
way
haven't
up,
seen my
just
funny
saying his
side.
inner world without a filter. Just very little slow.
I don't really try to be funny like that. And if I wanted to, I could be. I make people laugh. Like I don't really show my funny side personally, but I'm kind of a serious ISTP around people I don't know too well. But I do have a sense of humor, probably similar to his in some ways. Um, I think I do act very, as far as my sense of humor is probably similar to his. But my thing is, yeah, I might start bringing it out. I've been a little more serious lately. I don't know why. Um, I think I've just been matured a little bit, but I definitely have a great sense of humor. Believe it or not, got a really good sense of humor. Was really into the dark humor when I was a teenager, but kind of still am. I'm pretty much the same. I just know, uh, I guess naturally you become, you know how to be more serious when you need to be and things like that. Which I never really had that problem. I always kind of been a serious guy, but I can see more so around strangers. I don't really play around too much. Well, I do like to joke around actually around strangers. Depends on who I'm talking to, really though. Because I don't like to be too goofy around people because it's like that could be make you vulnerable sometimes, and people might start trying to take advantage, and they could be like, "Oh, I was just joking." That's why I'm a little more serious nowadays. Because I've had it happen to me a few times. People will try to take advantage and be like, "Oh, then," but his sense of humor is like just him being super blunt. At times when I'm being real blunt and I'm not even trying to be funny, people think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Probably in a similar way that he's blunt. But I'm being more and more convinced that he might be an ICP as I'm watching this. So yeah.
Slowdown on the outside world as far as SE or FE, right? All right, watch this first clip where he's talking about Dr. Oz and notice how he's putting everything in categories. And he's not censor proofing everything so much. He's really kind of clumping it together.
You're better off getting your health advice from your local crackhead. At least he'll be more honest than Dr. Oz. You can really find endless examples of Dr. Oz lying about shit on his show in order to promote some new fat buster or magic cure to something. The main thing he always
I will
targets.
say that sounds like SE as far as how he makes fun of things. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, because I usually just when I watch him, I never think about functions, nothing like that really. Um, but that sounds like SC humor, the way he made fun of that there, and I'm thinking like how he usually does. Interesting. Um, wow, I'm actually kind of surprised. Like he is starting to look more and more like ISTP. First, I was very skeptical, but I don't know. I'm not gonna go full on it even after I finish this video. I'm gonna need time to think about this. You know what I'm saying? For me to agree or disagree.
Targets is fat busters, metabolism boosters, and just general magic pills.
So what's great is he throws in a gob of, here's some double observing. You go look at the articles yourself. Anyways, here's the general category of what Dr. Oz is doing. What's pretty funny is the internet found somebody that looks just like him, and probably a doppelganger. My guess would probably be somebody of the same or similar type. Oftentimes, this is very true. When you find somebody who is your same exact type, they may definitely look like you.
The thing is,
Definitely, it's weird, man. Partially, so the reason why I think that happens is because uh, the okay, so there's this thing that people do, or I saw this lady on TikTok, right? She does face reading, and she says that the way your face develops, she can read your personality just by looking at your face and where certain things on your face are, right? And she says it's because like certain personality traits, you might use certain facial expressions, and over time, it actually molds your face to be a certain way, which is very strange. And it's like a lot of, and she can look at like little lines on your face and tell your whole personality. It doesn't have anything to do with Myers Briggs, but that's something very strange about that because they will often look like you in a lot of ways. Not every time, but it's something about like the face structure that can look similar a lot of times. He's right about that 1,000%.
My parents weren't afraid to just answer any question I had with the utmost truth. They were always honest and told
truth.
me everything. So you can imagine
Tell
my
me the
shock and
truth.
surprise when the internet showed me yesterday that I have a Puerto Rican twin brother.
¿Qué está pasando, mi gente? Este es crítico puertorriqueño. Nada más quería decirle que me acabo de
Definitely
cagar
kind of
el
looks
culo.
like him.
He do.
Yeah, baby!
His name is Nathaniel, and if Dominic Toretto taught me anything, it's how to identify family when I see it. And you know what I see? I see family.
Dominic Toretto. So he's referring to the Fast and Furious guy, who also I believe is Tini. Might be Sleep Last Place, something like that. The real Dominic Toretto, whatever the hell his name is, Vin Diesel. Like his real life name is more fucking movie character. Anyways, the NI is linking back to a favorite story, right? Let's talk about twins for a second. So this is him with shorter hair.
Yeah,
And just real quick, looking at the Bing, you get doppelgangers, and very often when we look into it, we find that people are the same or similar type. I haven't looked into this guy, but this is Ed.
So I'm gonna tell you this too. Usually it might be like a 1 letter difference or something like that. He's right about that. Usually same or similar. Probably 1 letter off a lot of times. I was just thinking about this because I was thinking about two people who got the same type and they look the same, but I can't think of them right now. Two people who had the same type. This is an example. ASAP Rocky and Chad Ochocinco are both ESFPs, and they look very similar. There used to be a joke where they used to go around. ASAP Rocky. Oh, was the joke? Yeah, they kind of look similar. But yeah, and then also they was talking about how Chad Ochocinco and Tyrese look similar, and Tyrese is an ESFP as well. But he's definitely ESFP. But he's a lot more emotional. Seems like he's always in his FI. So he could even be an ISFP, but I think he's an SC Dom. I don't know. He could be ISFP too, though. Possible, but he seems like a SC Dom, though. He's just maybe life might roll around FI more. You know what I'm saying? Might be a FI subtype. You know what I mean?
Ed Sheeran, we've seen him. I would guess this guy is the same or similar type. He definitely has an ESTJ look, if I could say so. These two are actors. I do believe they are the same type. And this is where Twin Strangers, the website started because people online were finding people that look just like them. And as far as we looked into it, most of the time they were in fact the same type or damn close to the same type. But you get the game. So the Twin Strangers phenomenon, the doppelganger phenomenon, like that's definitely our territory. That's where we're finding stuff. But it's not everybody of your type looks like you. But it is definitely an interesting phenomenon.
Though I'm also not convinced that he's just my doppelganger. I think this truly is me from a different timeline that has collided with ours, and now we're able to observe two Charleses at the same time. But during this Charles's wacky adventures through the multiverse, a different path was taken. You see, the hair is 2018 Charles White hair. He's got the exact look that I did in 2018. Curious. So perhaps this is me from the past with a couple of other modifications to the timeline. I'm no quantum physicist. I don't understand the inner workings of it. I'm sure someone much smarter than I could explain.
So, of course, he's joking here. He doesn't really mean that. But it's like his NI, let's say at the time if he's been studying multiverses and stuff like that. So when new sensory comes in, he's like, okay, how can I make a multiverse joke about that? How can I put some overlap? This is what the intuitive dominant's going to do is they're going to take a joke. They're going to take an analogy. They're going to take something that's not true and just build on it to where the sensory people start to get really nervous, right? Hold on, that's not provable. I don't think that's true, right? That's something to look for.
But yeah, I'm also going to openly admit that some of the comments actually had me giggling. So hats off to the people on TikTok that left some bangers on that video. Actual pretty good shit. Yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about here for this. A lot of people sent me this video, and I just found it to be just really good, and I just wanted to talk about it for a little. That's about it.
Bye! Yeah. And then he just disappears. I love that just jumps out of the video. Right, so he's like a little bit of an SEFE got in there. I saw some of your sensory. It didn't show it. I saw some of your sensory, and it was pretty funny. You got an emotional thing. Anyways, just wanted to say that and run away, right? So you still get the mope, where he's just going to kind of trail off the demon blast, like talking less. There's a mopey guy. He looks like a fucking mopey guy. It's pretty funny when I was preparing these clips, I just had a picture up on my screen, and Shani hasn't seen this guy, and she's like, mope? Keanu Reeves mope. Looks like a mope, Keanu Reeves function, but not.
Keanu Reeves. Well, I've heard, I don't really know what it, like, I've heard INFJ mostly, but Keanu Reeves. But he's probably true. Same function stack. It would make sense, but they look similar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. So coming back down to my sleep, coming back down to the same old thing that I've been kind of looking at, researching and studying and thinking about and processing and valuing this fucking week is the introverted function. So somebody like himself, he's going to be like, I'm looking at my point of view. Now, what's weird is that a lot of times we'll get people that are this type, right? So a lot of people try and maneuver their results to be this type or something close to this type, some type of sleep something, right? And then you actually get a sleepy guy that everybody wants to be, a TINI or NITI or whatever. And the last thing this guy wants to be, if he were to type himself, he's like, no, I'm not this type. I mean, he might be able to work it out. You know, seems pretty self-aware. But a lot of times the mopey guys, they'll be like, no, I'm really extrovert. I do a YouTube show. And we're like, yeah, you do, but like that's forced extrovertism.
I talk about this too. People will think that they're their inferior function a lot of times. It's like a new territory, and they get a little taste of it, and all of a sudden they think, oh, that's my dominant function. You see like SC Doms all the time thinking that they INFJs or INTJs. Very common. Well, it's really common with both ESFPs and ESTPs to think they're INFJs. They just get a little taste of that NI, and all of a sudden they think that's the dominant function. They get overwhelmed with it. Yeah, that happens a lot. I think it can vary from type to type how often it will happen, but yeah, it definitely happens a lot. Yeah.
Right, because they're going to switch it around. Now, it makes sense with everybody else. They still have the same inner world that he has. Now, they don't have as many reps or development, but they still have look, I have my opinion. I have things I want to say. I mean, I have things that I want to talk about. I mean, I have imagination stories. It's like, yeah, but you don't go on fucking YouTube or anywhere in your life and just publicly share it nonstop most of the day that the tribe is fucking annoyed. Like, yeah, I heard your point of view. What about somebody else's point of view, right? But everybody has that playing in their head, right? Even super duper extroverts, they still have a lot of time where they're listening to their own selves in their head. So they're hearing and they're seeing and they're prioritizing their inner world, their introverted functions, and they're going, well, that's me. I kind of do think it is you. I think all of us are our introverted functions, and the saviors are just kind of the ways that it's expressed, right? Yeah. The saviors are where we're going to type somebody of here you are in the tribe. Here's the role you're playing. Here's the archetype you're playing. You're the mopey guy. You're the extroverted guy. You're the carpenter guy. You're the ST guy. You're the NF guy. Now we're all selfish asses down at the core, right? Which makes sense why and how Darren Brown always would talk about, he's angling that there's commonalities in everybody. So anyways, it's making more sense why people see themselves as an introverted type. They see themselves like this. But then what you're actually tracking as far as your type in the tribe is if somebody were to...
The thing is like, you may see yourself like that, but you have to think about like, if you're, to them, to you, you might be introverted because from your perspective, you're not talking a lot or whatever. But compared to other people, you may be talking a lot, and vice versa. Like, sometimes I feel like, man, am I an extrovert? Just because I was talking a lot. But if I ask people, they will say I'm super introverted. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're a quiet dude, this and that. And I feel like I just talk a lot or something like that to somebody. But people can still tell I'm an introvert. You know what I'm saying? Even people that don't know anything about Myers-Briggs. But I'll be thinking, like, oh, extroverts must talk way more. Well, I know that extroverts talk way more than that when I talk. Or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty much the end of the video. He does talk a little more, but I think that's it for right now for that. Interesting. And I actually saw another video, which I'm not gonna pull up right now, where he was talking about he likes to wear plain white shirts, and I like wearing plain white shirts. So I'm like, interesting. This is a strange phenomenon with this typing stuff and certain similarities that he's pointing out. Anyways, I think that's it for now. My mic, I don't know. I was low on battery.